Hello, hello. It's Friday or Friday, and we're doing more HAED SAL. Who would have guessed? I was debating about doing something else, but in the end I was like, let's just go with the old tried and true, and Zelda's already coming over. Oh dear. It's like he hears me talking and he's like, hi, I'm here now. He's literally, if I just, there he is. And there's the pattern. And there he is. There he is. There he is. No, don't touch it. He's looking, it's because it made a noise, it moved. I might not get that back where it was now. No, Zelda. No. Come on, mister. Oh dear. The little says hi, but you can't be up here. Yeah, I know. He's moved it. I'm never gonna get it back. He knows it's there. This is a problem. Come on. You don't yawn at me. Come on. Come on. Ow. Come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. You like making my life difficult today, don't you? Fine. We'll do it this way. Come on. Come on. He literally, as he was asleep this whole time, I pressed start streaming and he's like, hey, yo. Yes. Come on. Come on. Don't dig your claws and you're going to take this with you. Jesus Christ. Let go of the map. Zelda, you're wrecking the joint. Jesus Christ. Zelda is not happy that today's a Friday. I am the lurky. Work is being done. I'm sorry, Keshi. Zelda's also he's testing my patience today. Ugh. Right, I had this camera all nice and set up too. That left to do. Right, so got more of this done. I finished this row. I think this is the row we were working on yesterday. I nearly said last week. Don't ask me why I nearly said last week. Not last week. So I did all that last night. The side. I did this. So we just got these 3 squares. And then we start this row. We're going to get this, well, probably not today. We're going to get this done. We're going to get this colour done with. Oh. But hello, Little, and hello, Keshi. How's everyone's Friday going? I'm done already. That's it. Oh, I just punched the camera. I'm sorry, camera. Sorry. I was also trying to get my threads ready for that Gecko Rouge, or one of the Gecko Rouge kits I got yesterday. Just getting them to their actual length I want them to be, because the way they've done it, it's not wrong, but it's just not how I like it. Just waxing my thread. And then Mooncat has released their new set of polish, and I'm like, oh no, I thought that was next week. No, I forgot. My days are all just jumbling. So I'm now like debating if I'm gonna drop a ton of money on a whole kit, a set, I should say. I don't normally buy a whole set from them, but this one's looking like it might happen, and I'm like, The colours in it are just mwah. Let me lift that up a bit so I'm not so cramped. There we go. So yeah, I haven't been up to much. I woke up and that's about it. I do have a bit of a funny head today because I went to bed with a banging headache last night. So we'll see how much of this I get done today. I have annoying lingering headache that won't go away. What is it with us syncing up? This is getting creepy now. we both had tummy aches. Yeah, so I just got a really bad head. Emma, stop. I keep having some... I can't help it. I'm not doing anything. I swear. I swear it's not me. I don't like it as much as you don't like it. My thread is testing my patience today as well. We were all up kinda early today. Oh, every time I set everything up and I always forget the tweezers that I need. Yeah, so everyone was up early today a bit. Because my granddad had to have his cataract surgery. So past couple of days I just been getting up earlier than I normally would. So he can't drive for the next 48 hours. He has to have special eye drops put in. But I think other than that, he's good. If it wasn't for him getting an eye test recently, they wouldn't have known that he had cataracts. So... But this is why eye tests need to be better. Loki is having a screaming fest today. My sister's gone to see her boyfriend for the weekend and he tends to scream on a Friday. So apologies. He's really living up to the chaos today. I can confirm that eye surgery is horrible. I had corrective squint surgery as a teen. I think any sort of like surgery where you're awake under like sedation or something, or they just paralyze your eye, would be like terrifying. But apparently you can't even see what's going on, which is like, oh god, I wouldn't be able to sit still. Like we've watched there's a program here in the UK called Inside the Operating Theatre on Sky. I was put under. Us, it weren't as bad, but it was still horrible. Because you weren't awake, is what I mean. Yeah, no, normally with things like cataracts, they want you awake. And it's like, no. Yeah, no, that's not happening. Yeah, inside the operating theatre, it's on, I don't know what other channels it's on, but it's on Sky. And they basically just like talk you through like what goes on in an operating theatre. And there was someone on there getting an eye procedure and they were awake. And you could just see the eyeball just not moving. They'll say, no. No, no, no. But it was interesting to watch a bunch of operations happen and what goes into them. There was also another program as they do a live surgery. They did live surgeries where they had like a camera crew in the operating theatre live and it was broadcast on telly. I think it was like Surgeons at the Peak of Life, I think it was called, and that was basically what I just described. It was literally live, and it was like things like, we're removing brain cancer from this patient and you're gonna see it happen. We're going to replace a valve in this person's heart whilst their heart's open. And it was just like, oh. And it's like, what if it goes wrong? That's live. Like, that person's going to die if you mess this up. But nothing like that ever happened, so. But it was just interesting in watching them happen. Let's just mark off the row I just did. There we go. Jesus, my brain's even worse today. Oh, I didn't check my blood results. Oh, I'll check them later. I completely forgot about that. I just like to check my my inflammation just to see. I know you have to be awake for certain brain surgeries, and I couldn't. Just no. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I can't even be awake for a colonoscopy when I have to have one. Just because that's normally done with you under like twilight sedation. It's like, nope, knock me out, please. I don't want to see what's going on. Because I've had a cystoscopy, which is where they look up your urethra. I was knocked out for that as well. But I couldn't imagine being awake for any of those sorts of things. Because they do normally have you awake for those things, but it's sorry, I'm rubbing the back. There's like a lump and I don't know what it is. I think it's just thread from somewhere else. Yeah, they normally have you awake for certain procedures to make sure that you know, like when they're working on the brain, to make sure that you're still responsive, so they don't just accidentally kill you. Because they could nick something and be like, "Are you okay?" And you'll be like, "Yeah." But if you don't, they'll be like, "Oh no." I remember in one of the programs, it wasn't live, but they did do a brain surgery and they did nick something and the person didn't respond. And it looked like they were having a stroke because of it. And everyone was like, oh God, what have we done? So it would just terrify me. Being the surgeon or the patient in that situation. Because all it takes is one wrong move and something's happened and you're like, oh god, what did I do? No thank you. So yeah, we'll probably just have like a chill stream today. I had to put under for them to put my wisdom tooth because I was like, you aren't getting into my mouth while I'm awake. I hated tooth extractions being awake. I hate anything dental being done whilst I was awake. And I think this lump at the back of my mouth is a wisdom tooth, and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't know what to do about it. Because I don't want to go to the dentist. I also would have to lay in their uncomfortable chairs, and I can't do that, and it's just... We're at 8k with the HAED challenge, woohoo! I just wish people... I know there are risks of putting people under anesthetic for no reasons. Like, you could have 6 surgeries in a year, and unless it's necessary, you could be awake the whole time for some of them because of the risks of being put under every time. But it's like, I would rather be put under every time I need something done. And I don't enjoy being put under. Whenever I have to have a surgery and they go, it's like time to go into the room, and they start putting you up to the heart monitor, they always go, your heart's a bit fast. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like so nervous right now, that's why. I'm tired, I'm panicking. So yeah, give me a bit of grace there. I hate when they're asking you questions while they have their fingers in your mouth. Like, you want me to answer you now? I know, they always ask, like, so how's your day? Huh? And they're like, oh, that's good. And you're like, what? Or you'll start talking, they're like, can you not close your mouth? You wanted me to answer your question. I have to move my jaw in order to get some sound out. Sir, please. Like, what do you want? Do you want me to answer the question or to just look at you going in silence? It makes me laugh though. Because they do know what you're saying and you're just going, I don't know what I said. Like, not a clue. Why? Or when they're like trying to talk to the nurse and you're like, is that a question for me? Or the assistant. Yeah, is that a question for me? Or can you open your mouth wider? Yes, let me just unhinge my jaw for you. Yeah, I'm like, this is as far as it goes. And they're like, nah, just a bit more. I'm like, no, that's it. Like, I know my mouth is a lot. My teeth are bigger than my mouth, but that's it. That's all you're getting. I'm sorry. Or when I was getting a filling, they shoved that suction tube right down your throat and you're like gagging and they're like, can you not gag? And I'm like, I can't. Or your tongue's moving too much, yeah, because I feel like I'm drowning. I'm sorry. I'm a very anxious person when someone's looking in my mouth. Or you feel when they're doing a filling, you feel that bit of tooth just pop off and you panic and you're like, it's gonna go down my throat, it's gonna go down my throat. because they haven't grabbed it, and so you're trying to help by like using your tongue to move it into a position for them to grab it. And then they suction your tongue and you're like, eh. I was just trying to help. I'm sorry. I had to have a an X-ray. This is how I learned that they lied. That X-ray thing is horrible. It cut my gum, like the inside, like the bottom part of my gum, and I was just like, ow. You have a lot of saliva. Well, I'm sorry. You dried my mouth out and now my body is trying to fix that. Yeah, it makes no sense. You're quite dribbly. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why. They're just suctioning. No, I need that, please. I hated it when I'd go to the dentist and I'd like lick my teeth after because they were so dry. You're like, oh my god, no. Or when they'd like numb up your mouth and your tongue starts to go numb and you're like, oh god. Oh god. And then they get you to spit. They give you the cup and they say, can you spit? And you're like right over the sink, like and it just falls out because you can't control your mouth on one side. So you end up just going and then you have to hope you didn't just get it all down you because they've taken the bib away. And you're just like, damn it. No, I haven't been to the dentist in ages because I'm just like, I'm scared of what they're gonna say, but at the same time it's like, if I'm not having any issues, but it's like I probably am. I am having some issues, but they're just gonna blame it on things that's not the reason, and it's ugh. And they might join the list of doctors that blame it on my Crohn's and say, well, we can't do anything about it. It's like, thanks. Yeah, thanks. What a great use of that time you went to school for. I got a metal filling at one point, and they let me leave while my face was numbed and swollen, and I was spitting out bits of metal. Oh my god. It was like bits like from not the actual filling, but where they had done the filling. That's ugh. It's terrible. And the thing is, if I go back to the dentist, they're gonna want to remove my current fillings and change them for the newer ones that match your teeth. Because I have the ones that they look like metal, but they're not. And nowadays they don't use that because it can have, I think, magnesium or lead or something. I know it was too late for that. Mine aren't in pristine condition anymore. Too little too late. The only filling I have that's actually an actual tooth colour is my front tooth at the back. Because if they'd given me one of those darker fillings, you'd see it through the tooth. So they were like, yeah, okay, we're gonna use one that matches your tooth colour. But no, that is terrible that they left you out. They let you walk out with a really swollen face still, and you were numb and still had bits of the filling in your mouth. I had a tooth extracted, and for like a week after, I thought I was getting a new tooth. Like, I was getting so happy that I wouldn't have a missing spot there. No, they just didn't take the whole tooth out properly and it was coming out itself. Like, I remember being like, I was eating and my tongue caught something really sharp. And I was like, ow. So I finished what I was eating and I went and had a look in the mirror. And I saw something white protruding from my gum. If I was eating fish, I would have thought it was like a fish bone, because that's what it looked like. No, it was a bit of tooth. And I was like, oh, thanks, dentist. So I've been like traumatized by dentists since I was a kid. So yeah, no wonder we don't go back. I wonder why a lot of people just don't go back to the dentists. Like those people that have great dentists who like listen and, you know, don't judge them and tell them if you don't brush your teeth or do whatever, your teeth will fall out by the time you're 32. Maybe people would go to the dentist more. Because I feel like if I'd had a better experience, I would have gone more, but I didn't. So I actually have a telephone appointment with my doctor on Monday. Oh. And they're getting just as bad, doctor surgeries. Trying to get in to see a doctor. Oh, can they phone you? I mean, they can phone, yes, but my problem isn't something you can talk about over the phone. And 9 times out of 10, they just say like, oh, can you come in to see me? And it's like, yeah, well, that's what I had planned to do anyway. But I hope your appointment goes well on Monday. No, my thread had slipped. That's why I'm pulling that out. I didn't go wrong, my thread slipped. But yeah, I just think it's like we've had this discussion before. The NHS is going to shambles. It's being privatized underneath us. And like a lot of the top people want it to be run like how America's run, and we'd all have insurance and stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, let's not. Because I know I'd be on the basic and then I wouldn't get anything. I mean, it's bad enough hearing in the Crohn's disease subreddit about people who have good paying jobs and good insurance being denied medication just because the insurance said they don't need it. And it's like, okay. Or they'll say, like, after you being on it for so long, oh, well, you need to switch to this because it's too expensive. No. How about my doctor makes that decision and you just sign the piece of paper that says I can have it? I don't understand why insurance has to fight everything. And if that's what starts to happen here, it's gonna get bad. But COVID has made things worse in terms of wait times and things like that in general. It's very easy for you to be forgotten about as well. Like, I don't get any follow-ups between appointments, between my 6-month appointments, between my GI doctor. So I just have to wait until I see him next to say like, hey, this is happening, because trying to get hold of him on the phone's terrible. You phone the secretary and the secretary is like, oh, he'll phone you back later that day. And then you never get a phone call. And then it's like, I still have that problem. Oh, he'll phone you back. He will definitely phone you back. He's very busy. But yeah, I know he's very busy. But what happens if a symptom I'm having needs me to go to the hospital? You know, like, what happens if I just need to go to the hospital? No. Okay. It's ridiculous. I don't think I finished what I was saying yesterday about quiet on set. And I can't remember now. But I have a feeling I just didn't finish it. I think, well, I know we got a follow yesterday and that was at a different point. You didn't. I know, I didn't think I did. But the thing is, I don't remember what... I remember talking about how there was a loophole. And like, how you could have 20 registered sex offenders who are barred from working with children on set. But as long as every child on set has a parent or guardian, they're allowed. And it's like, why is that allowed? Why should that be allowed? Like, that's just endangering the children even more, or child. And it's something I'll never get. Adults are supposed to be the people that protect children, and they're not even doing that. It's like, why? There just needs to be more things in place to protect children and to... The whole thing needs scrapping and redoing. Because it's only been within the last 10-20 years or something that they've got the... What's it called? Is it Cobra? I might be completely wrong. But there's also a scheme where when a child actor gets paid, instead of it used to going into the parents' bank account and the parents would give it to the child, it now has to go into a separate bank account that nobody can touch until the child reaches 18. Because parents were using that money for their own gain. Which is something you see with a bunch of influencers today. Like family vloggers. Ruby Frankie comes to mind. She made millions off of exploiting her kids. And spent it all on nice things for herself and her husband, and none of it went to the kids. And now she's in prison on federal child abuse charges. Not just regular child abuse, federal. Because what she did was disgusting. I hate people like that, yeah. And I think YouTube needs to start cracking down on that, because otherwise we're going to have a bunch of young adults who grow up the same way that the child stars did. Ow. And it's just going to... A lot of things are going to come out and it's going to have to be changed, but no one wants to be that person to say something needs to change. There's working in these places. Nobody wants to be that person. Because then you're just seen as a problem. And it's like, no, the problem is adults exploiting children. You know, like adults working out how much money they can get from profiteering off of their children. And then using, like, how many couples have made YouTube channels as couples? Then they've gone on to start a YouTube channel. Well, they have a YouTube channel where they're just a couple, but then they announce they're pregnant. And a lot of the times they'll all say the same thing. They'll sing the same song and dance, where they're like, oh, we won't be posting anything about our child on here. It's just going to be the two of us and us being parents, but the kid will never be shown. And then one day the kid's shown and that's it. Like for a month or so, there will be no pictures. Or if there are pictures, the baby's got something over the face. And then slowly it's like revealed. It's like big reveal, baby. And it's like, The only person I watch right now who's actually went on to have a child who hasn't shown them is Joy-san. Because she's an artist. She was never a mummy vlogger or a relationship channel. It was always about her art, but she ended up finding out she was pregnant and was going to become a mother and wanted to do the right thing. So, like, he's in the videos, but it's more like you never actually see the face, and the most you see is like the legs. That's it. Because she just doesn't want her child to be put out into the world. And she still has to work, because she does work as well as doing her art. But I just don't understand why people... And then some people even get, like, deals, like sponsorships for the child from, like, fashion companies. And then they put their children, and it's primarily little girls, into these, like, provocative child outfits. And then they end up on the dodgy sites. I know I'm going on a huge tangent, and I've, like, gone away from quiet on set. But it's all linking together because a lot of us grew up with children on the internet. We think it's okay for us to put our children on the internet. And it's like, it's not safe. It is not safe for children to be on the internet. You can have a private Facebook group, a private Instagram account, or lock it all down so only friends and family can get updates who don't live locally. But all it takes is one of those people taking that picture and sharing it on the internet, and then that's it. Or someone who claims that they know this person getting in, and then it all goes to pot. It's unfortunate, and it's disgusting. Because those sick people will do whatever it takes to get hold of it. And if they can't get hold of it through normal means, they'll just make it themselves. I personally couldn't do that. Close friend like you, Keshi and Limby, would see if I had a kid. Otherwise, I've had a baby, that's it. Yeah. I think that's all it needs to be. It's like, we've had a baby. Like, me and my partner produced this. Ta-da. And you're never going to see them again. It's like when the royals have a baby, it's like take them to Pride Rock, get them in that right spotlight and hold them up for the world to see. And then play the Lion King song, do the thing, and then go away. Which is why people were so upset when Meghan Markle decided she was not going to do that. She was going to have a home birth. She wasn't going to go to the hospital that all the other royals went to. She was just going to have it, or have the baby. Ow. I have a spot on the end of my nose and I keep catching it. It's an eye-watering one. Ow, I just touched it again. I hate them. Yeah, she decided she was going to have a home birth, not go to the same hospital, and then she decided as well that she wasn't going to announce the baby the same day. She was going to wait until she was ready, which was like a few days later. And people were so upset about it, thinking, how dare she? And it's like, her body, her choice. Like, she had a terrible birthing experience. I wouldn't. Would you want cameras in your face? That's not for, like, from friends and family taking that one picture that they always take, but would you want, like, flashing cameras in you and your baby's face, like, seconds after they've popped out? No. But we all know the media was very anti Meghan Markle because she wasn't Kate Middleton or Princess Diana. She wasn't white. After just giving birth. Yeah. They basically have to have a baby, pop it out, get dressed, or put like a gown on, and then they have to walk outside and go, here's the next one in line for the throne. Get like flashbanged by paparazzi, and then, right, we're going now, baby's cold and crying. And like that's what they have to do, but Meghan was like, no, we're not doing that. And everyone was like, how dare she? And it's like, no, I agree. Also, babies don't have an immune system. One of those reporters is sick. That baby could die. Like, it is ridiculous. And we make such a parade about it. And it's like you could be watching the news and it's like, breaking news. Princess whatever and their new baby seen in public for the first time. It's just them out of the hospital. And then you just see like rows of reporters and it's like, oh my god. And then you just hear click, 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 click of the cameras. It's like, Right, I'm going back inside. I have a banging headache. Ugh, that's what I'd be like. No photography. I wouldn't be going out if I had just had a baby. Like you said, only like important people in my life would know. They'd get the I look so disgusting right now, but look at the baby I just birthed. Everyone else would get, I've had a baby. That's it. You can have one picture later when we're home and I've slept in my bed. Yeah, I just think more needs to be done about exploiting children before we end up with more Ruby Frankies and Daddy of 5 or Dad of 5. What was his channel name? I can't remember, but horrific child abuse in that situation too. And they would just like pass it, oh, it's just a prank, bro. Nah. Parents that do that to their children are terrible. There's a difference between like a nice harmless prank and no. And if you think you're coming to visit within the first 48 to 72 hours, then you can think again. Yeah. Especially if you're in hospital, like unless they're part of the birthing team that you plan to have at the hospital with you the day the baby's born, then it's like no one else. Like, I get it, you want to see the baby, but I'm knackered, I'm in pain, I'm tired, I'm everything. And it also depends, like, what if I had to have a C-section? I ain't getting out of bed. You can't even lift a kettle after having a C-section. So I'm not having a bunch of people around creating noise. No. Whenever I've had a general anesthetic, I am like so grumpy. I'm like also on the verge of tears. So, no. Not even sure who would be my birthing team. Probably my cousin or my sister. I haven't even thought of that either. I'd probably just have my mum. And that'd be it. Anyone else, and my partner if I had one at the time, because that'd be it. I'd be like, I can't have anyone else. I'd get overwhelmed because I'd be asked questions and I'd be like, nope, can't do it. I've decided I'm not having the baby today. I'm gonna come back another day. I'm done. Goodbye. What, I'm crowning? No, I'm not. Push it back in. I'm coming back tomorrow. I can't do this right now. But yeah, some of the things that was happening on the sets of all these kids shows, like when Dan Schneider was given that award, I can't even remember what the award was for. That one award he was given, I think, at the kids show. And be like, crosses like this ain't happening today. I'm not ready. I've changed my mind. You know, put that stitch in. Use that husband stitch. I'll allow it just this once. Yeah, whatever that award was that he got, when everyone was like, oh, Jenna McCurdy wasn't there. And it's like, yeah, no, I wonder why. Like, he was like mega creepy. I really need to read her, well, listen to her audiobook of her memoir, I'm Glad My Mother Died. The abuse she suffered with her mother too, yeah. Being made to lose weight when she didn't need to. Not that anyone needs to lose weight, but a child. And, oh. I'd be glad my mum was dead too if I had to put up with that. But then again, I would be glad if the other parent was dead. So, in my case. Sorry, I'm fidgety again today. But yeah, I have so many things that I need to listen to, but I'm just like, I'm too busy doing other things. And here, is that is that a threat, little? You're like, I'll do it. I volunteer as tribute. Or is that in regards to the Jenna McCurdy? There's no context. It's just stab. Both. Okay. I volunteer as tribute. But when I think this might actually be what I was gonna talk about. It might have come back to me finally 24 hours later. When Drake Bell was talking about the abuse he had surrounding Brian Peck and his mother not doing anything. Like, I was shocked, because what parent would let a strange man who's, I can't remember the age gap, 30 or something years older than your son, is taking him places and he's staying at his house? Not once do you call to be concerned? Being like, sorry, the dog's going off. We're just gonna set Loki off now. Like, not once do you like ask, and it took his girlfriend's mum to figure it out. She did do the right thing in the end, and she did phone the police, but this was after the abuse had happened. I feel like, I'm not saying she's responsible, because she's not, but she should have seen something, I feel. Like, if I had a child, I'd be wanting to know where they're going all the time with a strange man that I don't know. I've not vetted them. The internet was in its early stages. He hadn't had any allegations put against him at the time. I'm sorry, but no, she was warned by his father to keep an eye on him and still let it happen. Well, that's what I mean. As well. Like, she was warned and she just let it happen. She wasn't concerned when he didn't come home at night. Like, oh, it's fine, he's staying at this man's house. Like, did she ever go to one of those parties? Like, one of the former cast members was talking about going to the parties and he had a picture of John Wayne Gacy's Killer Clown. And he had letters from him because they were pen pals. Like, if I was a parent and my child, and I'd have been like, what? John Wayne Gacy? The Killer Clown who went to little boys' birthday parties and did horrific things. And he said terrific. That was the wrong word. Horrific. I was trying to say terrible. Horrific things to them and then would kill them. No wonder I'm scared of clowns. Jesus Christ. I knew I was right to not trust them. But then again, if one went boo in your face, I think you'd be scared of them too. But I just don't understand. Even if it wasn't Drake Bell's mum, a responsible adult, because he showed it off. He was like, look at my painting. I'd have been like, why do you have that? And like, didn't he keep the letters on his nightstand? Like, he was proud of them. They weren't like hidden in the drawer. They were just sat there. And it's like, okay, kids, we're going home now. We're not coming here ever again. You can forget your career. You're gonna become a pianist, a violinist, a doctor, anything that's got nothing to do with this guy. Maybe you should become a lawyer. There we go. But all these parents saw, I feel like, was dollar signs and stars. They saw the fame, the notoriety, and so they just put their children at risk. It's like, well, was it worth it? You got to buy that nice house, but your child got years and years and years. Lifetime. We'll just say lifetime. A lifetime of trauma? And no money in the world is going to fix them. No amount of therapy. Therapy will help them cope. But when the next thing happens and it's put on the news, it's just going to trigger them and it's just going to go back. The second he said it was from him, I'd have been hauling my kid out of theirs. Yeah. Been like, right, Jimmy, come along now, Jimmy. We're never coming back. Say goodbye. But they didn't. And I'm like, what? Why? It wasn't like this is something like he was like open about on set. It was like his dirty little secret. But as soon as they walked into his house, one of the people said the vibes was off. Like, you just knew walking in that something felt off. And then there was just a painting of a clown. But not just any clown, John Wayne Gacy. Every time I listen to a case about him, I have to just turn my head all the time because they always show him in his clown outfit. I'm like, can I have a warning, please? I have a really bad phobia of clowns. I don't want to see it. Thank you. I don't mind the clown Twitch emotes that people do. It's just something about the red hair. It's like Ronald McDonald. I cannot deal with Ronald McDonald. I will cry. I nearly wet myself one time because I think it was It Chapter 2, a trailer for that came on, and our telly was mounted on the wall and I was walking past and one was like, don't move. And he started to whisper right in my ear because I was right in front of the telly. And I was just like, tears were like welling up and I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I said to my mum, never tell me to not move again when that's on. Tell me not to look, but don't tell me to stop. Because that was... no. Never again. So now I know my fear is completely rational. It's not one of those irrational fears like spiders. It is a rational fear. And then there was the 2016? 2018? When one of the newer It's came out, everyone was dressing up as killer clowns. I hate clowns and still watch things like it. I cannot. I cannot. I remember watching Cabin in the Woods, and I said to this guy, because he'd seen it, no one else in that room had seen it except for him, and I said to him, there's no clowns in this, right? And he was like, no. I was like, you need to swear down to me now. I said, because if there's a clown and you've lied, I'm going to punch you in the balls. Yeah, that phase. And attacking people. We watched the whole film, get right to the end, and there's a bloody clown. And I punch him in the balls. And I'm like, you lied. And I was like, I kept my promise. I said I would do it. I said, don't lie to me ever again. If I ask if there's something in this because it's scary to me, you've got to tell me the truth. I've never seen a film with that person ever again. But I was just like, we're not doing that. But yeah, I can't remember what year it was, because I was like, was I just out of school? Or was it my last year? I cannot remember. But it was stupid. And people were being attacked. Like, a clown would just be there. And I was like, nope. And I can't remember why. It had something to do with it, but there was also someone who was actually killed by someone dressing up as a clown, I feel like. And it just went crazy. Bit like those TikToks now of like random women being punched in the street by this guy. He just comes up to them and smacks someone, and they're just like, what the hell? They ended up catching the guy that did it, but it was like, what the heck? Like I said yesterday, we're doomed as a species. Doomed, I tell you. Hold on, let me Google it. Yeah, I am interested to know. I would, but my keyboard's inaccessible. I need to change something about the setup so I can reach my keyboard. Because otherwise, whenever I get a raid or something, it's like I have to struggle to reach. Because I thought my bot was supposed to do it manually. It does everything else. It does the ads. I've got that set up down to a T. And I fixed it. It's now 3 minutes of ads every hour instead of 1.5 every half an hour, because that was bugging me. It's because I had that thing enabled where Twitch will do your ads depending on the length of your stream or something, and I was like, no, I want 3 minutes of ads once an hour, because otherwise that's too much. I mean, 3 minutes is too much, but you don't get paid if you don't. It was 2016. When did I leave school? Started secondary school September 2008. Would have been in year 9 in 2000. No, would have been in year 8 in 2009. Year 9 in 2010. Okay, so I had left school. I think I'd left school in 2012, 2013. So this was after I'd left school. The year after I moved out. I don't know. Maths is confusing. I didn't do very well in maths. But yeah, maybe I was working. I was 20. Oh yeah, no, this was way after I left school. I turned 20 in 2017. I should have known that. I should have just done that. Oh dear. Yeah, because I turned 30 in 2027. Ugh. So I was working. So it would have been around the time of the first It movie when they re-released them. That makes sense. And then overnight it was like a thing for like a week or so, and then overnight it was gone. It wasn't fun anymore. We had moved on to something more fun, and it was like, oh, thank God. But I wasn't leaving the house by then anyway. According to the New York Times, the clown sightings resulted in at least 12 arrests across the United States and 1 death. In Reading, Pennsylvania, a 16-year-old boy was fatally stabbed during an incident that could have been provoked by a prowler wearing a clown mask. The charges related to the sighting include making false reports, threats, and chasing people. Yeah, the chasing people would have done it. I would have died on the spot. If I had been like walking down the street and then under a lamppost in the light, it would have been just like a shadowy clown looking figure. I'd have just perished. Peace out, everyone. Goodbye. No. And like where I live, there is an alleyway that is horrible to walk down. I used to hate it. I hated walking down it in the morning when I would go to the bus stop to get to school. And I would hate it when I had to come home from school because it was dark. There is a light, but it was never working. Or it wasn't bright enough. Because it was covered in trees from like neighbouring houses. And it was horrible. And then there was a tree, just like this big tree that people could hide behind. And then there was like this little hut thing that was like for gas or something. And you could hide on top of that or behind it. And someone actually did get stabbed behind it once. So I was like, yeah, no, let's not. So I would run. As soon as I would get to that alley, I would run until I was back out. Because I was like, nope. Nope, too scary. And it seems like I was right to, because like I said, somebody was stabbed down it. And now they've got rid of that giant tree that was blocking it. So that's one positive, and they have fixed the lighting situation. The next thing they need to do is fix the dog poo issue, because people don't pick up after their dogs. There also used to be this bar to stop cyclists. It was like a U-bar, but it was like a tall one, and you had to duck to get underneath it. And I remember walking up to the doctor's surgery one day because I wasn't feeling well, and I smacked my head on this bar and I fell to the floor, and I felt even worse because of it. And then it was taken away, but then they left like a stump like that of metal, and I was like, that's dangerous. You step on that or fall on it, you're gonna impale yourself. Then they got rid of that and filled it in, but it was like overnight gone. I have similar here. It's from the main road to my street. One side is fence and the other is open grass, but there's no light. So while you can be seen by the houses on each side, it's still dark, yeah. But the thing is, with the one where I am, not was, nobody would look outside. Like, most of the houses were front facing, so I was like in the back gardens, and nobody was ever out there. So if something had ever happened, nobody would have known anyway. I feel like they should have just put cameras up. But they have changed it, but I think it took someone being stabbed, which was unfortunate, to do something. But that's the council for you. Super lazy. And it's mostly older people around here too. But they're like the nosiest people. Right? At least where I live, they are. We have a neighbour who's always looking out her back window. Or she might have been, because I think she might have passed away by now. But she would always just... You would just see a curtain move slightly and she'd just be watching. Most of them know me because my grandparents and uncle grew up here. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's always the old people. If you want to know, like, oh, the police were around last night. I wonder what was for. What? Wait, why? That one old person. Oh, I hear they had they had drugs and all this. And you're like, oh. One of our old neighbours is called the Wokingham Times. Oh, I just said my town. It's fine. You can't find me. Try me. Don't actually try me. I don't actually live there though. Haha. I was at the bus stop a few weeks ago and asked, oh, you're Danny's niece, aren't you? Yeah. But the only person who has my address that's here is Lumi, and she's not actually here. She can confirm. But yeah, he's just known as like the Times. And it's like, He knew everything. I think he's still going. But it would also be annoying as well though, because you just start talking to him and he'd be like telling you something like, well, I didn't want to know everything. So I feel like when I've got a bit of a funny head, like a headache or something, I can hear more sounds in songs than I normally could. And it's annoying. Like I pick up on those annoying sounds and things and I'm just like, oh. I hate it. My hearing is like super sensitive as it is and then just give me a headache and it's like double. But yeah, no, it's also annoying being recognised. But I always get recognised as like, well, Miss... What's the word? I get confused as being my aunt's daughter and not my mum's. And it's like, no. No. I came out of this one, not that one. Thank you. Please, no. Oh, you look like... Well, yeah, that's because we're related. You know, like, I would hope I look like someone I'm related to. That'd be a very awkward way to find out, like, you're adopted, wouldn't it? Like, you've been told your whole life that... Especially one of those ones where they keep it a secret, like, oh yeah, well, and then you're like, oh, you don't look alike. And then you're like, well, no, wait, we don't. Why don't we look alike? And then they go, oh, now we have to tell them. I think parents should just tell their children, like, from the get-go. Hiding it is just going to be worse. Tell them when they're old enough, like, they're still young, but they're old enough to ask questions. You know, like, tell them that they are adopted, but it's not because of, like, these reasons. And then when they come to you and ask, be like, oh, this is the reason. Because it just saves, like, that awkward when they eventually find out and it wasn't through you. Or... any other awkward scenario. Molly's having to limber her way to the windowsill. I also think she's done a smelly poo. Just putting it out there. I got recognised by one of my brother's friends last month too. The guy who was telling me that my brother talks about me and how he's proud of me, and I'm like, does he now? Funny, I haven't spoken to him in nearly 9 years, so yeah, like, why? I don't get it when they lie. Like, unless you're posting every waking minute of your life on Facebook and they can see it, they have like no reason to tell people that. 1 second, I'm just going to message my mum to ask her if she can find out. Because I can smell it. But thing is, there are days where I can't tell if it's the cat or me. So I get really worried. Until someone confirms that it's not me, then I'm like, oh, phew. So, but I just don't get why people have to lie about it. It's like my dad. He'll sit there and he'll say like, he'll just lie to people, say that how proud he is of like me and my sister, and it's like, you are, but you never say that to us. And it's only when he's trying to boast. It's literally, that's all he does. When he's trying to boast. Molly, did you not see anything interesting today? Okay. No, apparently not. But like, he has no issues like bragging about somebody else's child and how proud he is of him because he went to college, and it's like, way to rub it in. I didn't go to college. Why didn't I go to college? 1, I didn't get the degrees I needed, and 2, I was sick. Like, we still didn't know what was wrong with me, so it's not like I could have just gone. And then I would have failed that, and then he'd have been like, oh, what, another failure? Like, I had an intervention, with air quotes around intervention, once, by his, at the time, partner, who accused me of pinching off my nan and granddad, and that I was lazy and should just go get a job. And it's like, pot, kettle black? Because she wasn't working. She was a benefit bum, and she still is. And it's like, she has nothing wrong with her for as a reason why she can't work. Okay, she has to care for her autistic son, but he was in school. So what was stopping her from getting a part-time job whilst he was in school? But no, she'd wanted to sit upstairs and play on her PlayStation all day. But I was lazy. And so I started to work, and look where it's got me. And they had like found out a way to scam the benefit system, because my dad has epilepsy and he was being cared for by his partner, but he was caring for the autistic son. And I was like, wait, can you be a carer if you're being cared for? Because if you need to be cared for, that means your needs are so great that you wouldn't be able to do something that you can't do yourself for someone else. No, apparently not. Apparently, because he would cook, he would clean, all the things he says he can't do. Come assessment period, out came the sling and the knee brace and everything else. But he was fine enough to go on holiday. So, but I just found it really disgusting how her and her mum did that to me and said that I was just lazy and a scrounger. And it's like, And my periods were dismissed, right? I had a really, well, because like I've spoke about before, I have really bad periods to the point where I actually have a depot and I've got them stopped. I was down there visiting one time and I came on my period. Luckily I'd brought stuff with me just in case I did. As soon as I started having periods, it was basically like, take everything with you. And I had it all and I came on my periods, and as soon as I notice I'm bleeding, I start to get the backache and the stomach ache. And I'm in so much pain that I do tend to throw up and stuff. So her and my dad decided now is a great time to take us to the cinema. And I was like, what? And I wasn't allowed to take any of my heating pads that I had, because I had those on, because I'd have a big one for my back and then I'd have a little round, like a little square one for my stomach, because I would always bloat and I always felt like rubbish. But no, they made me go to the cinema, they made me watch a film, and I hated every minute. I couldn't eat. The smell of popcorn or the food was making me feel sick. And so I just had a drink whilst we were there. I was just like, I'm just gonna have a medium-sized drink and I was just gonna sip it throughout the film, and that's what I did. But what really? I'm sorry, what? Yeah. Is that like a, I'm sorry, what, like you're shocked or you didn't hear any of it? Just want to clarify before I get to the worst bit. This is all bad, but we're getting to the worst bit. They're not together anymore, so I never have to see her again. And we stopped going up there to see him. But the worst part was, you ready? There was a man who was parked in the disabled spot, who got out the car, who had a wheelchair because he was an amputee. She then went on to compare my period pains to this man being an amputee, and that if he could do things, I should be able to. And I was like, what? Why would you compare the two? We don't know how he lost his leg. We don't know what he's suffering with. For her to sit there and say that your period's not that bad because this man's got no legs and he can still do things. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, that's got nothing to do with this. Because it didn't. It had nothing to do. Yeah, no, that's what even I was like, what? Yeah. I just don't understand how you can. Yeah. And that's what I was like. I felt like I was being really unreasonable. But I was like, I am suffering. Like I have debilitating periods. I'm in bed for a week when I would have them. I could be at school. I could notice I'm starting to bleed, and then I'm home because I'm throwing up. She dragged me out, made me be in a situation I wasn't comfortable with whilst I was in pain and that, and then compared me to a man with no legs. And I was like, that is so disrespectful to him. Like, we didn't know his story, but she was like, because he gets on and does things, you should too. And it's like, I was like on the verge of tears because I didn't know what to say. And I was like, I'm sure the man probably heard her because she wasn't quiet about it. And I was like, I wanted the world to just open up and swallow me at that point. And I think what it was is she doesn't experience painful periods. So because she doesn't, she thought I was making up and I was over exaggerating. And I was like, I am so happy that you don't experience that. But I'm not faking. I would look pale, paler than I normally am, mind you. I would feel disgusting. I would be sweaty. I was a state. I had to wear nighttime pads all the time because I would bleed through. And even then I'd still bleed through. I had to wear 2 pairs of underwear. I had to wear a nighttime pad. And I still would bleed through sometimes. Yeah, I should just get on with it because a man with no legs can do things. And I was like, I was like, why? Why did we have to bring a stranger into this equation? And that's what I was so annoyed. I was also a teenager. So I wasn't like an adult. I was a teenager who was having these periods every month, and it was, I looked that bad after getting my first implant out that my college teacher sent me home early because it was my first period in 3 years and I looked like a ghost. Yeah, like, periods are horrible. I wouldn't wish them on anyone. Like, anyone. I was so upset when my sister started to have hers and she experienced nothing. She had no cramping, no bloating, no pain, no nothing. She just was like, oh, I'm just bleeding. She did eventually get the pain, and so I was like, ha? I did rub it in her face because I was like, I felt like I had every right to, because I experienced from the day dot, my first ever one, I started to feel like, I'm gonna be a bit gross, you know when you feel like you need to poo and you get that like, ooh, I had that, and I went and sat in the toilet and there was just blood, and I was like, I know what this is, but I'm still gonna freak out because I was what, 10? And then from that day on, my life changed. So, and like, when I was first put onto the depot, you're supposed to wait 12 weeks between injections, but I would have periods. I had no pain, right? And so I was completely fine with it, but they were like, you're not supposed to have them at all. So they did have to increase it to 11 weeks, and that did stop them, but we can actually, now my body's gotten used to it, we've gone back to 12 weeks and I'm fine. But I think I don't know what I'd do if I was having like a Crohn's flare and a period at the same time, because it's the same thing. I didn't get my first period until I was 17. Well, aren't you lucky? I mean, you weren't lucky because you did get the horrible part, but you were lucky in the fact that you didn't have to go through it when you was in secondary school. And boys are horrible. I mean, the girls are horrible, but the boys especially, asking, like, when we would get the talks, it was like, as soon as like a period, oh, you start to have periods at around like this age, it'd be like looking around the room, who started their period that age? And it was like, does it really matter? Like, we bleed for like a week-ish, maybe 2, maybe longer, some people, and that's it. It's like, ugh, boys. But I remember when I was on the depot and I wasn't expecting anything, and I was at work and I was cleaning, blah, 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 and then I felt like I needed to pee, but it was like a pee I couldn't hold, and it just gushed out, and I thought I had wet myself. Like, I genuinely felt like I had just peed myself, and so I ran to the toilet, and I sat on the toilet, and there was just like blood, and I was like, what the heck? So I had to do something about that, but I had nothing because I wasn't expecting a period. So that was a fun day at work. which in itself should have been a sign that something was wrong. Yeah, it should have, really. Doctors, why don't doctors listen? Because you're meant to start around between like 9 and 12 is like the normal, with quotes around normal, because everyone's different. Some can start earlier and some can start a bit later. But if you're 17 and you haven't had a period, I think a doctor should start investigating why. Because it could have been something simple like you just didn't have the right hormones, or something serious like a cancer. And either way, something needed to be done. But I just hated how, oh, I've got a sharp pain. I can't breathe. It wasn't even a full period. Just a small bit of blood. It lasted 3 days and was gone. Oh. Yeah, no, that's even weirder. Yeah, that should have been investigated. Let's go ring all the necks of all the doctors that have wronged us. We'll have a long list to get through. I just don't understand. Like, a lot of the times, male doctors will dismiss female patients when it comes to those sorts of issues like periods and stuff. But I was even dismissed by some female doctors too, because, oh, that's normal. Bleeding through a nighttime pad and 2 pairs of underwear through trousers into my bed is normal. Okay. So I was just like, that's it. And I was getting very anemic through it. Like, they'd have to give me iron supplements and stuff. And it's like, pairing it with Crohn's as well. Like, if you look at the signs of Crohn's disease and periods, Crohn's can make periods actually a lot worse than they are. Because it's all to do with the cramping. When your muscles, when your cervix and that cramps, it can actually cause your intestines to cramp, which is why a lot of women tend to need to go for a poo. You know, the period poops? That's what those are. Why is that there? What have I done? Oh, you know what? I've started this next page. We don't need to do that, Emma. Come back. That's the next page. Abort mission. You were failed by the system. And now you have more questions than you do answers. Which seems to be just a pretty common theme. And it shouldn't be. Right, we're moving down a row. A second. We get so used to period pain that other pain can be mistaken for it and often ignored. Yeah. But, like, women are just told to just get on with their pain anyway. So we ignore things because it could be, like I'm due my period. It could be this, it could be that. And it's like, maybe it's this. Like, even in pregnancy, like, women will put off symptoms and then find out later that they actually have, like, spinal cancer. And that's why their back hurt. But they just put it down to they were carrying a baby, which can cause back pain. And even doctors were saying, oh, it's just, you're just carrying a bigger baby. So, and when you go to a doctor and they're telling you the same thing, you just listen. And then it's too late to do anything about it because you waited too long. And that should have been this way. Oh, damn it. Like, if you phone up if you have a male boss and you phone in to work saying you can't come in because you're on your period and you're just told to just suck it up, and it's like, yeah, I would. My body is literally tearing itself apart right now because I didn't get pregnant this month, so. Like, I was always that one kid who was having a week off school once a month because I was having painful, terrible periods. And everyone else would just go like, oh, why do you always have a week off around the start of the month? And it's like, well, what do you think? Why do you think? And everyone's like, I don't know. It's like, yes, you do. You have them too, once a month for about a week. And everyone was like, no, they're fine. Or they didn't get them as bad as I did, so it was just, oh, she's exaggerating. And it's like, I wish I was. Oh, I've done that wrong. Most companies in the UK don't let you take time off for your period. No, so you just have to just push through. And it's ridiculous. I counted wrong. I should have counted one more. It was 8 I needed, not 7. Right, let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. But it's the same anywhere in the world though. Like, I've heard many a story of a woman being like, oh, I can't call out of work again because of my period or I'm gonna get fired. Yeah, I have them heavy. My thread's starting to rip. Now I'm just gonna get a new thread. I have extra skeins, so. But I think it just needs, like, people need to show more compassion to each other, and especially people going through painful periods and things like that. And I get it, like, you have to be careful because some people will use it as an excuse, and then you will get, like, people will take advantage of your nice if you're too nice. Oh, well, this person got to have time off when they were on their periods, but I don't for mine. No, because you're sat here having a nice conversation with me and can keep it up, whereas the other one was sweating and was on the verge of passing out. Because, like, that's what I'd get when I was in school. Like, I wouldn't pass out, but I'd be quite sick. And everyone would be like, why do you go home at lunchtime every day? Like, all the time? And it's like, because I can't keep anything down. Oh, but such and such saw you the other day when you said that you were sick. Really? They saw me when I was on the sofa downstairs for that week. They really saw me. And that's what I had to put up with, and it's like... And, like, if you had an injury, people would compare your injury to this other person's, like, oh, well, they can do things. And it's like, that's great. Their doctors obviously told them they can do that. Mine has told me the opposite. I'm going to listen to what my doctor has told me and not make my injury worse just because someone else has the same injury and the doctor told them different. And, like, when I was first diagnosed with something, I was initially diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm now starting to think that it was just, once again, it was Crohn's disease, because it can make you feel stupidly tired. Kids can be the worst. They are the worst. I don't think they can be, they just are. You'll have those few, but they're just brutal, and it's like, why? 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 8. And what really annoyed me is, when I was diagnosed, I had to stop all activity. I couldn't do PE because I'd be falling asleep in the next lesson because I was so tired. Like, even today, I could go to bed now. I won't because I'm streaming, but let's say I wasn't streaming and I was so tired I went to bed now. I could wake up tomorrow afternoon. Oh, the house phone's ringing. I could wake up tomorrow afternoon and I still feel like I didn't sleep. Like, I just feel so tired. And at the time it was put down to, oh, maybe, like, when we was investigating what it could be, it was maybe she's anemic. I wasn't, which surprised me at the time. Maybe it's she's lacking a vitamin. She's got a vitamin deficiency. I did, but it wasn't that. It wasn't enough to cause this. Because I was getting home from school, and instead of doing my homework, I was going to sleep. Like, I would just come home and I'd be like, gone. Same, I'm always drained, and it's gonna be worse when I'm back on my meds and my body adjusts. Yeah. And then I started to do extracurriculum after school. I did an after school club. I did badminton, right? Because I love badminton. And I was doing that, and I'd come home from that, pass out. I wasn't doing my homework that was due the next day. I wasn't able to do anything. I was going to bed. Like, when I would come home from school, I'd wake up to have my dinner, and then I'd go back to bed. And like, on weekends, I wasn't getting out of bed till 3 o'clock. And my mum always struggled to wake me up in the morning, and it was just like, there's something wrong with her. We need to find out what. And so they thought I had a thyroid issue. They thought I was anemic. They thought I had a deficiency. They basically went through everything. Zelda, what are you doing? No, we've had this discussion. Come on. Come on. Yes, you're halfway. Thank you. This cat, honestly, I love him, but and then they just basically chronic fatigue syndrome is a diagnosis of elimination. So they tested everything apart from Crohn's disease. They tested everything, and they were like, well, it's none of these. And like, I was at this age where I was wanting to know what's wrong with me too. So whenever they would say, oh, well, it could be this, I'd go home and I'd start to Google, and I'd look at the symptoms and that, and I'd be like, that's what I have this. And then I'd go into school and I'd say, like, we think we might have found what's wrong with me. It could be this. I never once said I had it. I was like, it could be this. We're just waiting for the test to come back. And then it wouldn't be. And it was just getting so annoying, because it was like, my attendance was dropping. It was getting so bad to the point where this was around the time the government had implemented prison sentences to parents that had children that skipped too much school. It was getting to the point where we were worried that my mum was going to go to prison because of me, and we were going to get fined and we wouldn't be able to pay the fine, and it was getting to that point. And even when I got diagnosed, it still didn't help, because there's no treatment. Just don't do exercise, like, don't do too much. So we to keep me in school, we had to compromise. We said to the school, we can get a doctor's note, but she cannot do PE. Because it was draining, like PE, because we'd have PE first thing in the morning or midday or at the end. And it didn't matter when it was, I would just crash. So it was like, okay, she can't do PE. And they were like, okay, get her a doctor's note and then she can not do PE. So we got me a note and I stopped doing PE. And that did help. But if I got sick, I could catch a cold off someone who was sat in the next room. I was always catching something. And we didn't know why. Because chronic fatigue syndrome does not do anything with your immune system. It doesn't impact it. But I was just always sick, and we put it down to maybe I was just like constantly run down because of me being tired all the time, because when you're tired and that, your body isn't operating fully. And so I was just getting sick. I was missing even more time, like not as much as I was, but I was still missing some, and then add in my periods, and it was just, I was a mess. And then I find out, and this really annoyed me, someone I was in school with, like, I only knew them for like one class. Like, they were only in one of my classes out of all the ones we had to do. They were in drama. He looked up my skirt one time. Dirty pervert. And I saw him. It wasn't like someone told me, I saw him. He was laying on the floor and I was stood near him and he was peeking. And I was looking at him like, dude, what the heck? But anyway, I found out he also had chronic fatigue syndrome and he got to stay home. He got to do all his work from home. The school set it up so he wouldn't have to miss a day. He got to do it all from home. That's so, yeah, my school was filled with a bunch of dirty pervs. Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't seen like charges against them in the news or something. Because some of them were just like gropers, and it's like, keep your hands to yourself, please. And I would have thought being bullied would have stopped the groping. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Anyway, so he got to stay home. And that's when I worked out that the school was biased. Not against girls and boys, but by money. They were biased if you came from a family that had money. My family doesn't have money, so I got treated like the bottom of the rung. His family, he lived in a nice area, because I asked the guy, I was like, does he live in a nice area? And he was like, yeah, because he's been to his house. And I was like, that's it. That's what it is. I'm not rich. I can't go on all the trips. I can't fund anything. Can't give money to the school. Couldn't even afford the uniform. That was expensive. And then Mum had to pay it all again when my sister went, because I wasn't growing. That should have been a sign too. I wasn't growing. I stopped growing. Like, I did grow a bit, but it wasn't like, you know when you watch people wear blazers and in like year 7 it's like down to their ankles, and then they get to year like 11 and they like stretch their arms out and they're wearing like a t-shirt. It was like that for some, but for me it was like the same. That shouldn't matter. It shouldn't have, but it did. I saw it happen far too many times in that school. If you lived in a nice area, you got the best treatment. If you didn't, you were dirt. We had a no wearing tight clothing rule. Right? I wore a skirt that was considered kind of tight, but it was elasticated. It was an elasticated skirt. I wore it for comfort. I could not wear the trousers. Trousers made my legs itch. It didn't matter. It wasn't the washing powder, just something about the material of the trousers made my legs itch. So I'd wear tights and a skirt. Someone pulled me up one day about my skirt and I was like, it's elasticated. It's not like a pencil skirt where I can't walk. I was like, if I could do the splits, I was like, I could do the splits. I cannot do the splits. I would probably rip myself right in the half, like head bottom to top. But I was like, I cannot wear trousers. I don't like the pleated skirts. This is comfortable for me. Even when I was on a period, like, because it was elasticated, it wasn't stupidly tight. So I got away with it, but another girl wore an actual pencil skirt and was fine. But if you wore a pleated skirt, oh, it was... My best friend wore a... Her mum could not afford the proper uniform, so she had a navy blue, which was part of the uniform, jacket. She wore that underneath her blazer, and the teacher tried to take it off of her. It was freezing cold, and in the corner of our eyes, what do we see? 2 girls wearing bright pink jumpers over their blazers, so the school logo was hidden. My friend was wearing navy blue, which was part of the code. She was wearing it under her blazer, so you could still see the school's logo. They walked straight past. We both looked at each other and went, like, pointed, and was like, are you going to tell that? Oh no, they're fine. What do you mean they're fine? They weren't like year 11, they were the same year as us, and it was like, you can't sit there and honestly tell me that they're going to get away wearing bright pink when she was wearing navy blue. And I was fuming on her behalf. She was also fuming, but I was like, this is unjust. Like, they literally just walked past bright clothes. It was freezing cold, and they wanted her to not wear her jacket. And I was like, no, she's gonna keep her jacket on. It's freezing cold. Like, those school tops and the blazers, they do not protect you against British winds. So in the end, we won, but they didn't get stopped. They just carried on, and it was just like, And I was like, I even said in earshot of the teacher, I was like, oh, I see. The rich kids get away with it, like they always do. Rich kids can bully the poor kids and nothing will happen, but if we lash out, we get suspended. It's totally fair. So, like, there was a girl I went to school with. My granddad worked for our local council, and her dad also worked for the council. So they were caretakers. They didn't work properly. It was like they were caretakers. And when we both started at the school, she was picked on really bad by the teachers as well, because she had a very prominent nose. Right, and she hated it. She hated her nose because it was quite big. And it had like, I'm going to describe it as like a witch's hook. It was not a witch's hook, but like, you know when they show like a witch in like a cartoon? It was basically like that, but it wasn't. But she was called horrible names by staff and teachers, and hello Lumi. You've came in at Emma's bitching hour. We're talking about schools and how unjust they are. I know what you mean. Yeah. Ow. And she was picked on. And her dad went to the school once. Let's bitch. Let's do it, get the tea. And her dad went up to the school once and it was stopped. The headmaster was like, yeah, we're a school where our policy is no bullying allowed. I can tell you now, that was a load of rubbish. A load of BS. My mum went up to that school a ton of times to sort mine out. Oh, we'll see what we can do. The next day it would be worse because they'd snitch and tell them that I'd told on them, so. Yeah. All against bullying unless you're poor. Because she wasn't poor, but she did come from like, she did have a nice area and stuff like that, so it was very easy to see who got the special treatment. Snitches get stitches. Cross stitches. They get cross stitches these days. But well, of course, only the finest of stitches for the snitches. God, that was a mouthful and he struggled. There was too many blah 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 for my mouth. But it was like very clear as day who got special treatment and who didn't and why, and it was like I see how it is. School. I was so glad when I left. Our school used to flood. There is, right? I know I've already kind of doxed myself. I'm not going to tell you my school. But I did say my town. If you know what school I'm talking about, there is a video on YouTube of kids, like, from the school on a boat, like, well, not a boat, an inflatable, boating around, like, with a paddle around the school when it flooded. Because it was built right next to a body of water. And when it would rain, it would overflow. I don't. DM me it. Hang on. Oh, hang on. I've got to reach the keyboards. I was like, that doesn't look right. No, it's 2. Oh, for crying out, it's 2, isn't it? No. I don't think Discord knows. 1 second. No, I'm confusing myself because Discord doesn't know. It is 2. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think it was like just before I started, so it might have been 2008. That's the school. That's what you want to look up on YouTube, the flooding, and you can see the entire layout of the school, and you can just see them having the day of their life. It was so funny. They then implemented disabled friendly disabled friendly defenses against this flooding. You cannot get over them if you're my height. Properly. I came back to school after these had been fitted with crutches. You could not get over them. So God forbid you are wheelchair bound. You would not be able to get out. You would be stranded and stuck. I had to defend a friend from being bullied by a friend. All I did was flash her the bird and she got so peed at me. All I said in response was, "You don't? Did I send that to someone else?" I did. Oops. Sorry. Oopsies. I'll have to explain that to them later. Let's try again. It's not as bad as that time I posted something in the wrong Discord server. That was awkward. Anyway, at least both times it wasn't something sussy, so... Ugh. You should now. But yeah, these barriers were rubbish. I don't think they have them anymore. Because the school's still flooded. It's still flooded with them because the water would just get trapped on the outer buildings. Because they did it so the main buildings wouldn't get flooded, but then the rest would. So it was like pointless. But just trying to get over things that were like came up to my waist, I couldn't do it. I did have a friend say that if it came to it, she would carry me the whole time. Because I was like, I'm too short for this. Yeah, so you want to look up that and flooding, and I think 2008. it's like, it's gonna bring you back to old school YouTube because I think the video quality is 360p, which is like, ooh. Me when with my glasses still 360p. But I was even bullied by people in my friend group as well, and it was always when the other two weren't there, the others would just team up on me. And one of them was so pathetic. They wouldn't talk to me because my attendance was too low. I'm not kidding. She refused to talk to me because I had a week off school because I was actually sick. And I came back and she would just ignore me. And I was like, yeah, that's the video. Oh, it says it's unavailable. Oh, it's because I'm not watching it on YouTube. 16 years ago. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Oh. This is how bad it got. We had, oh my god. I get like funny vibes from that video because of the school, but it was so bad. There, it's that bad as well. We have a cinema called Showcase. Where is Showcase Cinema? Can I even say where that is? I mean, I don't live near any of it. But we have a cinema, and it's also got that body of water, and that would flood. And it would just be so funny because they were warned, all these places were warned, don't build on floodplain. They built on floodplain. So every year when we get terrible rain, it floods. So now they're building houses in floodplains too because it's like, oh, free real estate. Yeah, and soggy foundations. Sinkhole who? Nah. But yeah, the flooding. 16 years ago. So it would have been 20. No. Well, it would have been 20 something. What was 16 years ago? I cannot do the math. Hang on. 2007. This was also summertime. This was in the summer. This is just before the UK started to get their terrible, hot, sweaty summers. I love the comments on the video. Oh. I remember when this video was first uploaded and I watched it. 2018. It says 2007. This was uploaded in 2007 though. Because if you click on it, it does say, but oh my god. So this was a year before I started there. I feel like I should know who these people are, but it's like, I don't. See if I could show on screen without like giving it away. This one part is between the cafeteria and the English block. No, the library. This is the library. I say this like you can see. About 48 seconds in, there's a blue bin, which is the English block, and then you got the library area. Oh. But yeah, school was cancelled for like for ages because of this. God, I remember all of this. They found land. Sorry, I should stop looking at that. But oh my god. Because the cafeteria was behind the library. You're like, okay, little. Like, we had an upstairs drama department. We had another drama department. It was being year 7 and going in and not knowing anything. It was always funny though when you'd get to like year 8 and 9 and you knew where everything was, and then you'd have the next little year 7s come in and they'd be like walking around with their map with like crying, being like, I don't know where I am. And you'd be like, it's okay, where you gotta go? I gotta go to this room. And you'd go, okay, so you need to come out of here. You need to go all the way to the other side of the school. And don't forget, you've got 5 minutes to get there, so you're gonna have to run. You're gonna have to go out here, go all the way here, and then you need to go in this door, and then it's the third one down. And they'd be like, oh, okay, and then they'd just run, and you're like, so long, little one. Me and one of my friends ended up in the wrong French class when I was in year 7, because it was, the way it was worded is we had an X side and a Y side. X side was French and Y side was German. And classrooms would be like, you need to go to this room for French and this room for German. We didn't go to a German. We'd have been so confused. But we went to, we lined up outside one French classroom, and it should have been the one next to it. So we were sat in a classroom. The teacher read out the register, and we looked at each other like, I think we're in the wrong room. But we were too awkward to say anything. Because then it meant we'd have to embarrass ourselves by announcing that we were in the wrong rooms. So we just sat there the entire lesson. And then the following week when we had the same lesson, we followed people that were in our class. And we went to the right one and we sat there, and the teacher was like, you two weren't here last week. And we're like, no, we were. We just weren't in this room. We was in next door. And she was like, why didn't you say anything? And we were like, no, we weren't saying a word. Like, people knew we weren't supposed to be there, but we were like, no, I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying that I was in the wrong room. She's not going to tell that we're in the wrong room. The teacher didn't know. So, if anything, the teacher should have spotted it as soon as he saw 2 confused students looking at each other like, huh? Or didn't hear them speak when he read out the register. Nope. So we just sat there. Nobody else said anything, so we were just like, we're in the wrong class. Because we were all year 7s in that class. So it wasn't like we were just 2 year 7s in like a year 10 class. But it was awkward. And then we left after the bell went, and we were like, right, let's never do that again. But that school was a maze. Like, and it's changed since I left. They've added a new block, and it's confusing even more now, I think. So if you put me back into that school now and was like, you need to go to this class, I'd be like, oh god, I'm back in year 7. Where do I go? Oh god, we always used to hope when our buses would actually pass by the bit of water, because it was like right by the school, which is why when it flooded, it would flood bad, because it was right next to the school. It was like a river. It wasn't, but we're gonna call it a river. And right now, and when you would come out of the school, you could see it. So whenever it was raining a bit heavily, we'd all just be looking out that bus window being like, please flood, please flood, please flood. And sometimes it would, but it would only be like, oh, your socks are a bit wet, you can still come to school. Or it was just, wasn't even worth the rain. I think it only flooded once when I was there, and I wasn't in that day. I was at home sick. So I never got to experience the school flooding for myself. Which made me sad. I also miss when my primary school sort of flooded. I didn't miss one time, but when I was in like the juniors, because we have an infants and a juniors. When I was in the infants, our classroom flooded. But when I was in the juniors, a classroom flooded and I wasn't there. So when the classroom in the infants flooded, it was because our classroom was lower than the ground. If that makes sense. Like the playground was on a ramp. It was like on a upward incline. And so when it rained, it would just drain, and we had stairs leading to the classroom, so it would just like pour into this area. And the drains were always clogged. Like, bless the caretaker and his wife, like, they were doing so much in that school. They were cleaning it, they were maintaining it. There was a lot to do, and they did it in both schools and the nursery. And it's like a wonder they didn't get help for them sooner. Well, we ended up flooding, and it was like right at the end of the day, it just started to chuck it down. Was that an uppy or a downy? 1 second. No, it's okay. And it was horrible, stormy rain. And it flooded slightly. I think it was like a Friday, so it dried over the weekend. But it was funny. Then when the junior school, we were in terrapins for the year 6, which in hindsight was too small. We were the biggest year 6 class in terms of like size, like how many of us there were. They normally only have like 20 something. There was 30 plus of us in these 2 buildings, and it was not enough. So after I left, they made it into year 3, and now it's not even classrooms at all. So but I would like to go back to see my secondary school, but not if I had to encounter the people that went there. Like, because it's been over 10 years since I left, I would have thought that we might have done like what Americans do and do like your 10-year high school reunion. And we never did. And I was kind of glad, because I was like, I don't need to see all those people at all. I thought my music had stopped then. It was just taking a long time. This computer likes to give me heart attacks. Makes strange noises, and then something stops, and I'm like, But yeah, so I just had like a great I had a great experience in primary school, not a great experience in secondary. If I was like to wake up tomorrow and I was back in secondary school and I was back at that age, but with the knowledge I know now, I think it'd be different. Welcome back, little. I was just moaning about school. So you didn't miss much. But yeah, I just... And school's flooding. I was talking about flooding as well. I just don't think I could go back into that environment. Like, as soon as I left, because I don't know if every secondary school in the UK and England does this. Me and Milo are gonna have a fight today. Oh no, what's he doing, Milo? Do I need to smack your bum? Do I need to? Wait, no, I need to do. Yeah, I just don't. If I could go back, things I would do differently. I would have sorted the bullying out myself. I would have done something, and probably got into trouble, like a lot of trouble for it, but it would have been worth it to stop the bullying. But I'd have done like back in year 7. I wouldn't have left it till the last year. So but I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow and be back in secondary school, so I don't have to think about that. But I also wish a doctor had listened to me when I was younger and probably got something sorted out back then instead of leaving it till now. He's just getting into everything possible and driving me mad. Are him and Zelda in cahoots today? Are they sharing the brain sound? They're like, we're just going to annoy our mothers. No, he's not in here now. He's probably sulking on the landing. That's what we call him when he's not in here. And then shouting at me. Cats. They always do that. They always like, even though they can't talk, they're always talking back, and it's like, sir, excuse me? No. Why? Zelda never used to be vocal though. He was always just one of those quiet cats, and then we got Molly, and she is the most vocal cat. She will chirp at you. She could be in like the deepest sleep and you'll walk past and she's like, stroke me, pet me, da. And you're like, okay. So it's like, and now Zelda started to do it because of her, and it's like, thanks. Like, I love his little meows, like, don't get me wrong, but he even starts to do it now when he's fed. If his food isn't down on the floor in like 2 seconds after you entered the room, he sits at his bowl and he goes, meow, meow, meow. And he's like, stop, you're getting fed. Oh great, he's woken up Shax. Milo. They were so good during yesterday's stream. They were sleepy. I wonder if the weather's got something to do with it. I love how this started with a completely different topic. Shax is just watching like, what is wrong with you? That stare that cats do where they're like half awake and they just look and they're like, huh? And you're like, yeah, I know, bud. I know. Me when I come out of general anesthetic. Bleh. Oh, were you enjoying your sleep? I'm sorry. My needle just flew out my hand. You all saw that. Yeah, I love how we started this conversation talking about quiet on set and now we're here again. Always a tangent with me. That is literally me when I wake up. Poor Shax. Go back to sleep. Look at the face of Shax. That is that. I've been woken up and it wasn't for food. What is it? And that's what that face is. I had a feeling when I gave you that list last night of true crime people I listen to, I feel like I'm missing someone off the list, but that's all the people I'm subscribed to. Oh no, oh, you know what it is? I've only just come across them. And I have them open. It's True Crime Stories by, I think their name's Ty Knots. They came up in my feed. Is that video just gone now? Oh, it's gone. Because they were recently, like when I say recently, like within the last week, diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And it popped up in my like recommended. And I'm trying to watch his 10-hour true crime stuff, but I just haven't got into it yet. Not because of him, but because of me. His head is back down. Like, no, I'm not dealing with this. Oh, brother. Wake me up when something important's happening. I was listening to Case File on Spotify earlier. So, he's an Australian. And I think he talks about Australian cases. There's one case that he's spoken about that's actually been solved. And some of their cases have been removed. So you're going to find that you're going to get to certain episodes and they're gone. And it's annoying. I wish they had just kept them up with a side note that they use outdated language. Because I wish I want to listen to it. I did also used to watch Crime Junkie. And I do really enjoy them. Like, it does take a little while to get into Crime Junkie. And then a bunch of allegations about them plagiarizing came out and I just stopped listening. Because I was just like, I cannot be bothered. I think it was around the time one of the co-hosts, because it's two hosts, had to have surgery. She had to have brain surgery. And I just stopped listening because it was a different host, because I was reading things on the subreddit. It was going to be a different co-host and nobody liked her, so I was just like, I cannot be bothered. They did cover interesting stories. Like, maybe one day I'll just go back and listen to it once I've caught up with Canadian true crime. But that's an interesting podcast, Canadian True Crime. With Christy. She's an Australian who lives in Canada. So she has a Australian accent and pronounces things with an Australian accent, and then she gets comments telling us she's pronouncing it wrong because she's not pronouncing it the Canadian way. And it's like, you know. So she does once a year, she does case updates where she goes over all the cases she's covered that year and gives updates. So if since the episode has come out, something's changed. Like when the episode aired, a verdict was being awaited for, or a Supreme Court ruling then when she gets to the update, she does go over it. I was listening to an episode last night where she was going over previous cases she'd covered, and she does all her cases. So even if it was like episode 10 and it's like 3 years later, she'll still talk about if there's been an update in the case. So like, that's nice, because not a lot of people do that. They don't talk about cases that have had updates unless it's a big update, like they were waiting sentencing and oh, they've been charged or sentenced or nothing happened. But she doesn't. She also comes at it unbiased. She doesn't say like her opinion at all. It's completely, here's the victim's side, here's the perpetrator's side, what's your opinion? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Simon Whistler and The Casual Criminalist. I love when he interjects and he gives his opinion. Like when the police mess up and he's like, God damn it, police! Like, he is so good because he's so compassionate. He doesn't go over gruesome details because he doesn't read these beforehand. He has a writer, they write him a script and he reads it live for us, like recorded live. And he goes over the case and he'll just go, I'm not reading that, that's too gruesome. I think it was the Jeffrey Dahmer case. You know, the good guy who ended up killing a bunch of people and putting their body into like vats of acid and brr, brr. He didn't go into any of that detail because it was too graphic. He does have to censor himself because of YouTube. He hates it. We hate it. But he won't get any money otherwise. But he doesn't like child murderers because he has 2 children. It's like very personal to him. He really struggled with the Chris Watts case, if you ever heard of that one. He really struggled. He actually nearly quit after reading that. And he had to skip some things because it was horrific. God, whatever they've got for dinner is making me hungry. Oh, that case, yeah. He nearly quit because he was reading it, and at the time, his kids were the age Chris's kids were when they were murdered. So it was hitting him even harder. Like, you can hear it when he gets upset. He doesn't cry, but you can hear his voice shifts. I know the scoop. She went missing, then Chris was sus. Yeah. Oh, I knew the second she went missing, Chris was sus. Yeah. Sorry, I can't read. I think what was worse is they always go on telly and they always make it like, I'm so sad, my wife has gone missing. And it's like, you're having an affair. Like, it's very obvious. You're having an affair. His face when they found his neighbour had CCTV footage and they were going to watch it with him in front of the telly, and he was just like, panic. I was like, yeah. But I hated the fact their bodies could not be cremated. The grandparents wanted to cremate the grandkids and they couldn't be because they were put in oil and they were so highly flammable they would explode, which is disgusting. Like, why? Why? Just get a divorce. I don't care if it's against your religion or your culture, just get a divorce. I would rather be shunned by my entire family for getting a divorce than killing my partner and my children because that's easier. How is that easier? You get caught because you do something stupid and you get sloppy and it doesn't even work out. I don't even think they're together anymore. So it was all for nothing. Like, well done. You ruined your life for nothing. You killed your wife and kids and your unborn child for nothing. Well done. So proud. Father of the year right there. It was sick. She was pregnant and they were young girls. Yeah. Men. Yes, not all men, but men. Just sit down with a lawyer, give them whatever they want, and then you can move on. You do not need to kill them. And I know it's not actually because of that. It's because they don't want to see the other person happy. That's what it is. It's about the control. It's not, oh, I'm in love with someone else and I haven't loved you for a long time. Yes, I know we've got another child on the way, but I have stopped loving you and I'm wanting to see someone else. It's, no, I'm happy with my side piece, but you can't have anything and because you want to get a divorce, we're not having a divorce. I'm going to kill you and our kids because then no one can have them. Brr. We need the whole man disposal fan. Take him away. Like, just lock him up, throw away the key, goodbye, good riddance. We don't need you. We definitely don't need people like him procreating and making more men out to be like him. I just wish his daughters, and his wife especially, were just still alive. They didn't deserve it. They were innocent. Family annihilators are the worst of the worst. Like, I mean, they're up there. Child molesters and things like that, they're the worst of the worst. And then right underneath, like very close, family annihilators. In my books. Like the text messages, etc., and how he wasn't touching her and was working out. I was like, he's getting it somewhere else. Yeah. But when you're pregnant and you try and like go to other people to confirm that suspicion, you just get told you're crazy. Oh, it's your hormones. You're just thinking that, you know, like, give it time, he'll come round. And it's like, she's dead. Well done. Thanks a lot. His kids saw it too. And that's the reason why I think he killed them, was because they saw it. Just get a divorce. Sign a piece of paper. Move on. Separate ways. Just, I would rather know that my father disowned me because he was cheating on my mum than finding out that he killed her and me and my sibling because he didn't want us to go anywhere else. You know, like, I would rather know that my father was a real piece of work and wants nothing to do with me, because at least then I know where he is. I can reach out when I'm ready if I wanted to. And I just, no. And then the speculation, they started to speculate whether the mistress knew. And she was like, I had no idea. And it's like, I do think she didn't have any idea, any clue. I think she thought what was happening is that they were going to get a divorce and they were going to be together after that. Like, I don't think she knew about the murders, because I think if she did, she would have done something. I mean, if she wasn't charged with anything, it does seem like the police thought the same, and so did the prosecution. But we'll never know. I don't think she knew. I don't either. Otherwise, she would be sitting in a jail cell with him in a female prison. But there was one case I've heard where a man did similar. Not Chris Watts. I don't even think his name was a Chris. I think it was a different man. but she knew, the mistress knew what he planned to do, and in the end the police did have to use her as like you can have immunity if you get him to confess. Nothing. You didn't walk into anything. Now your command would be real good right now, wouldn't it, Aki? Just because sus. Yeah. These bloody subtitles. I was just watching something like that on YouTube last week. Yeah, she got immunity. We're talking about true crime. My favourite topic. We started off completely different. We then went to secondary school and now we're here. So we just go everywhere. But how are you doing today? See, my mouth still can't say your name properly. I cannot get it to come out properly and it's bugging me. It's just, my mouth doesn't know what to do. I don't know why. You've explained it to me, you've sounded it out, and I'm still like, no, I can't. Stupid mouth. Jade is fine too. But it doesn't feel right. And I'm so used to hearing you being called by one name that when I hear the other, it's like, that's not right. That's not right at all. That's not. It's because I'm so used to hearing Lumi say it, so I try to say it like that, and it's like my mouth, it does not sound right. I don't have an American twang. I have too much of a British twang to my voice. Was it the Jennifer Doulos case? 1 second. Because I want to say like Aki. I can say Ajisai. I can say Ajisai. No. My phone's like going on the blink because like I said it perfectly fine yesterday when I had my Ajisai painting, but let's see, Jennifer Doulos. I don't think it was little. Because the woman was pregnant. And it just says that she was a missing mum. I think she was pregnant and he cut the baby from her. And the baby was found separate. In this case. What? Yeah. Oh, she wasn't. Yeah. What? Yeah, he cut the baby out of her. 'Cause where did this happen? I'll find the case. somewhere, I think in America. Because he either cut it out of her or she hadn't long had it. But he was panicking because he had a mistress and she was pregnant and he didn't want a kid. And it was another one of those, just make her a single mother. I would rather be a single mother. I feel like I heard about this. You probably have. See, this is why I hate my brain, because I can remember silly things, but not the important details of anything. And I can't remember who covered it. And that's what's going to really get on my nerves. I don't know why I keep trying to use my computer. I cannot reach the keyboard. Scott Peterson. Back to Google. Yes. Yes. It was Scott Peterson. Because I only remember because of the wife's name, Lacey. Who covered it? Who did I watch who covered it? Told you I'd find it. I would have found it, but it was... I can't... My keyboard is inaccessible. It's a problem. But who did I watch who covered it? That chapter's covered it, but it wasn't them. No, I can't remember. I know someone I watched covered it. Oh! Bailey Sarian. That's who covered it. I was like giving up and then Bailey's thing popped up. It was Bailey Sarian. I've heard most cases from her first, and then watched others for like more in depth, because she does go into depth. But I need more. I need hour-long, 2-hour, 5-hour long videos so I can just sit here and just cross-stitch and just do nothing. I need my brain to turn off. That's why I listen to true crime, because then I can't be in my head. Because this thing doesn't shut up. At all. Ever. It's why I can't read out loud, because my brain... I'm reading ahead. Like, I cannot read a sentence start to finish. I'm second line down. In my eyes. But I'm reading it out loud, then I jumble words and people get confused and I'm like... My mouth's too slow for my brain. And it annoys me. Because then I start to read things too quick and my mum's like, can you please slow down? I do not understand. And I'm like, I need to go fast to keep up. But I'm still not keeping up. Because I could always, when I was in school, that we're going back to school now, I was always reading I don't know how they do it everywhere else, but when I went to school, we had books with coloured dots on them. Like those like coloured stickers, like reds, blue, green, yellow, blah, blah, blah. And or they'd have the bands on them, like the coloured bands, which again were just stickers. And that was your reading level. You could only pick books that were that reading level. So you would all start off at the same, and then after like a couple of books, okay, well, you can read it at a more advanced level, so you can go up to green. And they would not advance me because I'd finished a book too quick. When a book is this much text to this much picture, what are you supposed to do? So I would read it in an hour and I'd be like, done. And they'd be like, no, you didn't. You were just looking at the pictures. And I was like, I read the whole thing. Read it again, slower. Okay. Done. That used to annoy me. Like, I want to read better than this. Yeah, they just held me back. And then they finally would let me go to the next stage. And again, give me a book without pictures. Please. I don't need this. Because the books would, the pictures were just annoying me because it was half the page. And I'm like, I don't understand how people can take so long to read. And now look at my bookshelves. And then my bookshelves, there are no bookshelves because I was like turn off reading because of it. Because I was like, what's the point? And my reading tastes. But like that's like the thing though, like it can make or break a child. They can either love to read or they can hate it, and I hate it. I will read a book if I really want to, but if you sit there and tell me I need to read a book, no. Sorry. Not for me. I turned up to school one day with a true crime book and the teacher tried to confiscate it, and I was like, I was in secondary school. I wasn't turning up to primary school with a true crime book. It was like year 10. And I was like, I think if we're talking about like Romeo and Juliet, we've seen the Leonardo DiCaprio version. We're mature, with quotes, students. I think I can read a book that talks about murder. When we are talking about literature with murder, we were doing Macbeth. Any Shakespearean writing, we were doing. Zelda's poking his head out under the blind. He's like a little shark. So I was like, what's my book? What's wrong with my book? It's inappropriate. How is it any different to Macbeth? How is that any different? It's not like I was reading it to the class. I was reading it to myself. I was reading it between lessons. Like when we start English, we had to read, and then when we were done with our work, we would read, and I would just do that. I didn't see what the problem was. So I still read it. I was like, and this was also when people were bringing 50 Shades of Grey, because this is when the first book came out, and I was like, hang on. I can't read about dead people, but they can read about kinky sex. What? We read The Merchant of Venice, which talked about wanting a pound of flesh for a repayment. No, murder was too far. Real murder was not that horrible book. Yeah, it was banned. It was banned from our school. Because people were buying it. People were like reading it out. Like they'd have it in like, they would disguise it. They'd take something else and they'd put it in and they'd read it. And then they'd get to like one of the scenes and they'd just start reading it out loud. And it's like, read it at home, please. I don't care about whips and chains and BDSM, and it's consent. It wasn't consensual, but it also was, but this kind wasn't. No. And I was just like, so how is that fair? I'm reading about murder. Why is this okay? Then they banned that, but I still wasn't allowed to read my murder books, and I was like, I'm still bringing them in. You can take these out of my cold, dead hands. Try me. Like, why? I actually have a Eleanor Neil video waiting to go after stream, because I watch YouTube before I stream and then I pause it, even though I've got it set up so I could, but then I'm not going to be able to concentrate. It's about a murder of an Instagram live. Wait, murder on Instagram live by her influencer boyfriend. So I have that to look forward to. Have you heard about the woman on TikTok who murdered people? It happens here. I watched that. Oh, good. I have a playlist of every video I want to watch, because otherwise I'll lose track. So I just put every video I want to watch into a playlist, and then I just press play, and then it goes. Because I'm not spending 20 minutes scrolling to find something. So I just do that. I also have, what else do I have in that? That's true crime related. Let's see. That's not true crime. Oh, and then I have the Rotten Mango episode. True crime run after you watch. Yeah. And then I have teen went on truth-telling TV show to win money. Told 18 personal secrets, then was murdered. And then I just have Chelsea Suarez. She deals with MLMs, multi-level marketing, not men loving men, multi-level marketing, and scams. And she's talking about JoJo Siwa, because everyone's talking about her now. The Do We Know Them podcast is talking about her. Adam McIntyre's talking about her. I couldn't find the Rotten Mango channel when I looked. Really? It's just Rotten Mango. Yeah, it's just Rotten Mango. Or They Walk Among Us. They Walk Among Us is on... I know it's on Amazon. But Rotten Mango's on YouTube and Amazon and probably Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything. Because I didn't specify which platform. My bad. I was on YouTube looking for the second one. Yeah, I think they're only a podcast only, they're not a video. But I feel like Rotten Mango's everywhere. If you're still struggling, let me know and I can send you a link later to them. To Rotten Mango. But their most recent one before the one that they uploaded... The one they uploaded on Sunday I could not watch. Or was it, was it Sunday? Because they upload every Sunday and every Wednesday. Look, when I'm back on my laptop, debating on dinner. That's fair. Yeah, so they're not the most recent. The one before I cannot watch because it deals with animal torture. specifically like cats, and I was like, nope, 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 nope. I couldn't even watch the one before that. They talked about a kid stabbing a frog, and I couldn't, because I was just like, nope. The kid did also maim a cat, but I was like, no, 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 no. We're just gonna skip past all the animal torture. Not for me, not today. I cannot. It's like people that say that like they could listen to anything, and then as soon as they had kids, they're like, I can't listen to anything with kids because I just can't. That's me with cats. Like, I struggle to listen to things with animals, but since having Zelda, anything with cats it's even worse, because I imagine it's him and I'm like gonna cry. I'm like, no, I can't. I struggle to even see the sad posts on the cat subreddit. I'm like, no, I can't. So I'm just going to skip that one, look at other things. I still have to go and watch the Casual Criminalists Bonnie and Clyde episode, because he covered that. It's like 3 hours long. And I'm like, when I have a weekend where I can just do nothing but stitch. Because that's what I like to do. Just sit here, set up the stitching, and just zone out. This bloody chair. Creaking and clonking and... I did find a chair that's really nice. It's one for sitting cross-legged and stuff, but it has no arms, and I'll fall off because I know what I'm like. I will fall off this chair, so I have to keep this IKEA chair. Maybe one of these days I'll finish what I want to say about Quiet on Set, because I keep going on tangents, and then those tangents turn into tangents, and then I'm like 20 tangents deep, and I'm like, oh, it's gone. We've lost it. Because the problem is I'll be like, oh, let's try and do it again, and then I'll just do it all again. We'll just go on tangent and a tangent and tangent. Like, This is my brain. We never had it to begin with. I know. Never. I just want to finish one cohesive thought, but I can't. I am plagued. Someone cursed me as a child, apparently. My pretty boy has spotted me and is wanting food. No. My god, I mean, like, I'm getting your knees attacked now. Ugh. I love that he's a shimmering purple. Oh, he's like a bottle of Mooncat polish. Well, like he's one of their new collection. He's probably the ghost ship. That's what I imagine when you say a shimmering purple. Which is pretty, which makes me think the fish is pretty. So now I have to debate whether I'm going to spend the money to get the entire collection or wait till they have a sale and then hope it doesn't go out of stock. But it's expensive. And I'm gonna get like FOMO if I see other people wearing it. Oh my god, that is pretty. He's so pretty. Okay, Ghost Ship's too dark for him. What would he be? I'm like curious now. Hang on, let's filter by purple. His fins are tied just now, so we're working on that. Oh, poor baby. He might be like poison berry. I'm like trying to see. I don't know, maybe they just haven't got a polish out that matches. Maybe he's too pretty. Siren's Deceit. But that's more blue than purple. I'm just doing this for fun because I thought it'd be fun. And then if I get a nail polish, I can be like, look! But what a pretty boy. I always wanted to have a fish when I was younger. But we had a cat. And she would have been the sort of cat that would have done anything in her power to get this fish. So, it wasn't meant to be. He was meant to be blue, black, and red. But that's what turned up and I'm happy with him. I mean, they can change colour though, like depending on like their health and their environment. So maybe he was blue, black and red. And then he was happier and he changed colour. Because I've come across like the aquarium like subreddits and people are like, what's wrong with my fish? And everyone's like, you're a bad fish owner. You should never have fish. And other people are like, oh my god, your fish is so pretty. But yeah, so I wanted a fish. And I would have done anything, like taken care of it. But we had Fudge, our cat, at the time, and that wasn't gonna happen. Which is funny because we now have birds and cats, so poor thing was struggling. Aww. I'm glad he's feeling a bit better now. And I hope his fins get better. I came across this weird video of someone jerking off their fish. Because apparently sometimes, like with goldfish, you have to do that. Oh. I missed that bit. I see. I told you. I am getting so tired. My brain stopped. I nearly walked out of Pets at Home last month with an all black beta. But I didn't have my tanks then. See. Yeah, I probably have like really big bags under my eyes and I'm just like... I can push through. Lumi will be on soon. Just push through. And the worst thing is I'm not going to sleep after this, because if I go to sleep I'm gonna wake up feeling worse. So I'm just gonna struggle bus. This is how I know my medication's not working. The problem with pet shops though is they don't know. A lot of them don't know how to care for exotic animals, and because they don't carry them. Like my sister likes to go to pet shops to look at the budgies, and it's like, no, we're not getting a budgie because we don't know what's wrong with it. We don't know where it's come from. And if it has something like, what is it? There's a virus birds can get where it's highly contagious and it can wipe out your flock. It's not bird flu, but it makes your bird lose all its feathers. And it's like, if that was to hit all of our birds, no, let's not. They need more training, because they don't get enough. And so the animals suffer. So a lot of the times people feel pressured into buying an animal, because then it's like, oh, I'm helping, but you're also not, because as soon as that animal's gone, a new one's in its place. So, and my legs are starting to ache. Oh my god. I'm falling apart live on air. I can't get comfortable. I'm starting to ache from my tips and my toes to the top of my head. I think I'll always have fish and always at least one beta. That's like how I feel. I'll always have a cat. Because I just need something. And even though their lives aren't as long as ours, we're the whole world. So it's like we've always had dogs growing up in this house. Like we had a Jack Russell, we then had a Rottweiler, we had a second Rottweiler, and now we have a Staffy. And I feel like whenever one goes, we'll always have another to not replace, but to help the other. So like how I think my sister will always have a bird. Not saying I don't love Milo, but the day that Shax goes will wreck me. I've had him for 5 years now, and you saw last night as my baby boy. I'll be the same with Milo, obviously. He's just not been around as long. No, I get it. I've had Zelda. It's gonna be 8 years this August. Because he's gonna be 8 in June. And it's like, I don't even want to think about it. I hate thinking about it. Even though he did this, but this was an accident. And he's like bit me and he's scratched me, and it's like, I don't care. He's knocked my drink off my desk a bunch of times. Oh, I have to unpick all this because I put this in the wrong hole. Like, I call him a turd and all that, but it's like, at the end of the day, I still love him. He's just my little turd. Like, I remember the day I had to take him in to be neutered, and that whole day I had to go to work. So it did help because I didn't just have to think about it, but until I knew and I got the message from my sister that he was okay. Because I was at work, I told the vets not to message, like not to phone me. I told them to let my sister know, like phone the house phone, because I'd be at work. I'm the same with Shax. I get annoyed if he's under my feet or anything like that, but I still love him to death. Yeah, I'd still pick him over any man. And I was just like waiting, and then as soon as I got the text from my sister to say that he was home, I just felt this like sense of relief. I was like, oh my god, this wave just came over me, and I was like, I can relax. Because I always research things, and I researched about people getting their cats spayed and neutered and the horror stories, and I was like, yeah, no. There's no way I did that again. So I'm pulling it too tight, okay. come down here then. There. And so because I read that, like that sometimes animals can pass away whilst being done, I was just like, nope, 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 nope. But then when my sister let me know that he was home and he was fine, I was like, oh, thank God. She sent me this video of him with the cone on, and he looks so sad, and he didn't go to the toilet. This cat would not pee or poo because he had a cone on. So one day, he hadn't been for like a few days, and I was starting to get worried. Not a few days, like a day, and I was starting to get worried because he was digging. He wanted to go, but the cone was just bugging him. So I took the cone off, but as soon as I took off, he went to go lick himself. And I was like, no, you cannot do that. No. So then I had to buy him one of those donut collars. So, well, cones. So he could at least, to see if that helped, because I'd read that they can help cats. Because I think what it was is the litter was getting up into his face, and it was disgusting him, and he didn't want to go. So I Amazon Now'd, because this is where Amazon had the Prime Now feature. I Amazon Prime Now'd him the collar. We blew it up and we put it on him, and he went to the toilet. He did the stinkiest pee. He did the stinkiest poo. You could smell the anesthetic, and I was like, ugh, ugh. It was bad. But I was like, oh, thank God, because I was worried that he might have had a blockage. Nope, he just didn't want to go because he had a cone on. But I was just like, thank God. I'm also starting to get real hungry. It's probably why I feel tired. I'm probably hungry. I did eat before stream, but it's been like nearly 3.5 hours, and food's cooking downstairs, and I can smell it, and it's making me hungry. So I was like, they got sausages. I'm like, Hang in there, Lumi's nearly online. Yeah, I'm literally just waiting. Normally I'd wait till she gets on and she's like said all the hellos, and then I'll raid. I think as soon as she goes live I might just have to. I'm like dying. Because I'm just ugh. And now Zelda's coming back over. Can I help you, sir? Yes. Do it, yeah. As soon as she's live, that's what I'll be doing. This is where Lumi doesn't come on till past. And I'm like, Lumi, please. Zelda, you cannot lay there. Really? I can't move. There we go. Oh, look at him. Wait, no, that's the wrong way. Look at him. Boop, boop. What are you doing? So pretty. He's a weird coloured cat. He's like a silver, but he's also a brown. Molly's a ginger at the back end. She's like a regular tabby at the front and then ginger. Look at him go. Oof. You're tired. What? Yes. Can I finish what I'm doing? Please. And then we can cuddle later. I can see brown round his nose. Yeah, he's weird. And I thought he'd get like grayer as he got older, but he hasn't. He's just got browner. Because his mum was a brown tabby. So, look, come on. Oh God, I just shouldered the mic. Come on, no, don't fight me. Oh, you're coming over to me. Oh, he just kicks me in the belly. Oh. Hey, come on. Good boy. Right. There. Oh, no, I moved the camera, didn't I? Oh, we're just gonna leave it like that. That's fine. Oh, my knees. I feel like I'm like really old right now. Ugh. I think it's because the weather's changed. It's been warmer today than it has been all week, and my body's just not happy. Ugh. It keeps raining up here. I mean, it's probably raining now, but it was 18 degrees earlier, which is like the highest we've seen so far this year. So hopefully it calms down, because I can't deal with this. I don't know how I'm going to get through summer. If our summers are as hot as they have been, I'm just going to melt. And my PC is not going to help because that gets quite hot. And it's just going to add to it. And I'm just going to be like, no, I'm melting. There goes Loki again. What's he unhappy about? Nobody knows. Ooh. Oh, I missed it. Right, Lumi's on now. So, I'll finish this square. I've got this one stitch. I missed first on Lumi's stream because I wasn't paying attention. Because I always get the black screen. I never get a purple screen. So I missed it. But it's fine. Pan-chan got it. Which is fine. Yeah. Right. I think that's me done. I am so tired. I feel like I haven't slept. We did 289 stitches, which is more than I've been doing on stream. And I was like not using my hands a lot of the time as well. Too busy talking with my hands. I need to learn not to. So we are going to go head over to Lumia Celine. I have to reach the keyboard again. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. So this is where we're going. If you missed the raid, I am done. I will be back on Monday and I have to do the raid command. Hang on. Or what are we doing for the raid message today? I didn't save what we did yesterday. we're like crawling in. Like, we're not hype that it's the weekend. We're tired. We're done. I don't have a sleepy emote. We can do my spin. Spin. The frog goes. We'll just do the frogs. Hopping in sleepily. Hopping into the weekend sleepily. We're hopping into the weekend. The frogs are hopping into the oh, that's too many E's. Weekend. Sleep. How do you spell sleepily? Ellie? Oh, it's an I. Sleepily. I got it. Thank you. You were just. How's that? Because I got BTTV, they go all funny for me. Oh, I see. It's already fun over in Lumi's stream. Right, let's raid. How did I do it yesterday? Start it. Yeah, no. I did it, but I no. Okay. I need another pair of hands. There. Right, I did it. We are going to go over there. We're going to have a great time. We're going to chill. I'm going to sleep whilst watching. I will be back on Monday working on this. Hopefully I finished all of this colour. I should have. Please. No more. Right, thank you all for being here. Thank you for putting up with my rants and my everything. And I will see you all on Monday. Bye-bye.